to Apex Season 3. I'm Achilles. With me is Papa Smithy here on the desk. We have the players walking in, handing out some nice roses to the fans.
Feels like we got a rose in our first series, Achilles, because if you missed it, if you're joining in late, apologies because you missed one hell of an opening series for Apex Season 3. Reverse Sweep Kings, Lunatic High doing it again over Kongdu Panthera. And although our graphic for this series says runners-up versus round of 8, when it's talking about Runaway versus Africa Freaks Blue, remember, these two teams are the only two runners-up we have ever had in the history of Apex. Africa Blue, runners-up to Envious in Season 1, and Runaway, runners-up to Lunatic High in Season 2. So always the bridesmaids for now, wanting to separate themselves. And very interesting story here, given that the murmurs around Runaway is that perhaps our expectations need to be adjusted just a little bit down.
Yeah, with some swaps coming through, things being shaken up. Not sure what really to expect from them post Grand Final.
I don't think the viewers are ready for the lineup for Runaway today, because we've got it written down, and I don't want to believe it either. I'm going to wait.
There's a bit of a shock.
I mean,
to say the least.
Okay, Huxell's playing, so that part is part is there.
But I don't even think that's the big thing. It's like, who on this roster, out of maybe Runner, because the team is called Runaway.
But if Runner
Everyone
wasn't
knows
playing,
Runner.
people would kind of be like, okay, they're trying a new support player, new Lucio.
But out of everybody else, there's one person on this team that is pretty much synonymous with their success from last split, and he's the one that's not starting.
Are we talking about Cox?
Yes. We're always talking about Cox.
That's true. Doa knows.
Yeah.
Doa approved.
Can't
Cox.
stop. we took over his responsibility of talking about Cox.
That's true.
So
that's our new job now.
We got to
OGN pays us to do that.
Yeah, it's great. It's an amazing job. Very few people can say that they can. I won't even finish the sentence.
But
anyway.
We'll get the roster information out there. If you're joining us late, it is, of course, second match of the night. Group B action coming through. Yeah. Runaway on paper and with the hindsight of Apex Season 2 come in the favorites, but Africa Freaks Blue, you have to like the roster. They needed to change, Arhan and his NA Ultimates last season certainly left a lot to be desired. Recry, Elo, hell, these are all the memes around Africa Freaks Blue. But the new lineup, they've certainly really, I think, been more robust in the support role. They've really buffed up the heroes who got a lot of the chagrin, a lot of the criticism on the side of Africa Freaks Blue. They still have developing tank players. I feel like that's still kind of a concern, but Arhan and Recry, I think, it's the rub hits the road for specifically Arhan, because Recry has had very consistent performance. Arhan, Season 1 looked great. Season 2 looked pretty woeful. He doesn't really have necessarily the excuses anymore. This has to be his season, and he was one of the original Rank 1 players. He has a long history with FBS. That long history might come crumbling down if he can't really get Africa Freaks Blue going this season.
Yeah, so we'll see how the supports come in. I mean, there's been a lot of hype, a lot of murmurs here in Korea about these swaps coming through, how IDK and Arhan are going to kind of coexist and how they're going to play around each other and really enable Arhan. So it's going to be interesting to see if that success is going to come through. And Runaway, I mean, not defending champions, but still the second place team. Let's go ahead and hear from them right now.
시즌2 때 준우승한 게 아직 믿겨지지가 않아요. 그리고 3대1까지 그때 몰아붙이면서 우승을 한 발자국 전까지 갔다는 게 믿겨지지 않고 뭐가 부족한지 알게 됐고 큰 반환점이었던 것 같아요. 결승전 끝나자마자 20일 만에 바로 또 시즌 시작. 준비를 뭐 딱히 많이 하진 못했고요. 이번 시즌 목표는 다들 우승이라고 예상을 하실 텐데 저는 우승 아니고요. 8강 진출이요. 저희가 죽음의 조더라고요. 저번 시즌 8강 진출자만 3팀, 저희를 포함해서 3팀에 한 팀은 또 승강전에서 상당히 무섭다고 불리는 다크호스 X6까지. 이번 시즌에는 러너웨이를 약팀으로 평가를 하는 사람은 없을 것 같거든요. 저번 시즌처럼. 근데 그게 더욱더 부담이 커요. 시즌2 때는 제가 거의 주전으로 뛰었지만 이번 시즌에도 주전으로 뛸까라는 궁금증을 많이 갖고 계신 분들이 계신데 그냥 분석 뭐 그런 거 필요 없고 그냥 개인 피지컬로 상대를 누르는 게 더 좋겠다라는 판단을 했을 때는 아마 제가 부스에 없을 겁니다. 여러분들 너무 저희 준우승했다고 너무 큰 기대하지 마시고요. 시즌2 때처럼 저희를 생각해 주셨으면 좋겠습니다. 얘네는 잘할 땐 잘하는데 못할 땐 못한다. 그래서 어떻게 될지 모른다. 라고 생각해 주셨으면 좋겠어요. 그래도 응원하는 팬분들을 위해서 열심히 해서 좋은 성적 낼 수 있도록 열심히 노력하겠습니다.
Really sobering stuff coming through from Runner, who, just like what we were hearing, was saying, look, I realize people want to see us as champions. People want to see us go one better than we did last season, but he was pointing out some of the struggles. You know, they were very vocal about potentially finding sponsorship, also how much practice they were able to get in during the off-season. Very interesting stuff, and this is the surprise. That is Kaiser's seat, and Kaiser is not sitting in it today.
Yep, Mirage will be starting here for the side of Runaway.
We don't even have a picture for him.
We don't even know what he looks like.
He was just on the screen.
With our official images. We don't know what he looks like when he's all done up, Photoshop and whatnot. But yeah, Kaiser not going to be starting. Could see him. We do have the substitutions that could come through, but still very intriguing to see.
And it'd be a shock if this was not the first series we saw with a substitute. Surely Kaiser, the person who did so much for Runaway in their ascent to the finals, will get a shot, but not from the start. Mirage will come in, a very famous player in Korea, a bit of a stream personality. Kind of awkwardly, his most famous Overwatch-related moment was breaking his bed, jumping on it, which, I don't know how that works exactly. He'll probably want to show up some Overwatch as well. When it looks at hero pool, he's got a bit of an eclectic one. Pharah, Soldier, and Ana. So if he's playing any of those heroes, the first question is, all right, who's tanking?
Yeah. So might have to see him flip over to something like the Roadhog, perhaps Zarya coming through.
Unless it's the solo queue nightmare and no one's tanking Achilles. That's the secret.
Perfect. Just have bumper and then we'll go triple DPS all the time. It'll be great. We saw Lutzikai pull it off pretty well. We'll see how they fare though here with the side of Runaway. Whether or not they can make it work. Because Afrika Freaks Blue haven't been able to see this new team in action, but there's the murmurs again saying how deadly they really could be with Arhan being enabled. Let's go ahead and hear from them.
저희 팀은 지난 시즌에서 아쉽게도 8강에서 탈락한 아프리카 프릭스 블루입니다. 시즌 3가 엄청 빠르게 열려서 좋고요. 리빌딩을 중점으로 콩두시아였던 루시드 선수가 들어오고 콩이라는 선수가 들어오게 됐습니다. 루시드 선수가 잘하는 건 특히 다들 알고 있어서 딱히 걱정은 안 하고요. 이번에 새로 루시드 포지션으로 들어온 콩이 선수가 팀적으로 잘 가르쳐주면 저희 팀에 잘 스며들 것 같아요. 이번 시즌 저희 팀 키플레이어는
네, 서로 간의 실수가 조금씩 안 좋은 시너지가 지금 쌓이고 있는 느낌이 경기 중에 들고 있어서요.
지난 시즌은 성적이 안 좋아가지고 팀 전체적으로 슬럼프가 온 것 같은데 이번 시즌은 리빌딩을 통해서 연습 경기도 성적이 좋고 폼이 오르고 있는 중이라서 시즌 1대 명성을 찾을 수 있을 것 같아요. 적어도 8강은 갈 것 같고 4강부터는 이제 가봐야 알겠죠. 겐지 하면 아르한이다 이런 소리가 많았는데 시즌2 때는 겐지 타이틀을 많이 뺏겼거든요. 이번 시즌3에서는 팀적으로도 받쳐주면서 아란 형도 더 잘해서 옛날 명성을 찾았으면 좋겠어요. 여러 팀이 있는데 그래도 저희 팀을 응원해 주시고 저를 응원해 주셔서 너무나 감사드리고요. 더 수준 높은 경기 내용을 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
Well, a match with high standards. It's what Afrika Freaks Blue are going to be striving for here. And like you said, Arhan looking to regain that fame that he had going into and during Apex Season 1.
But does he need the fame for Afrika Freaks Blue to be a great team is a question I feel we've never really got the answer to. They have always been an Arhan-focused team. Even when Recry was popping off left, right, and center in Season 2, it was Arhan either carrying or losing. So they never feel like they really diversified their focus. It still will be Arhan, it feels, in spite of what Recry has been able to do consistently. So they have the tools there now. They now have the Ana player who they really think will allow Arhan to get to the next level. But I hope we see more diverse strategies from Afrika Freaks Blue rather than farming a Nano Blade, healing up a Genji, and trying to win every fight.
Well, I'll believe that one when I see it, Papa Smith.
I'm allowed to hope for things, Achilles.
For now, I think that it's probably going to be a lot of what we've seen from them before, but maybe it'll be pulled off a bit smoother this time around. Quarterfinals finish where Freak of Freaks blew last time. You heard Mono there in the interview said we're going to get as far as we did in the last season, and then we'll go from there.
I'm going to make a basketball analogy, which is risky. I'm Australian.
All
But I
right.
feel like Recry is the Scottie Pippen of this Chicago Bulls lineup, and I'm not sure if Arhan is Michael Jordan or Dennis Rodman.
That's fair.
You know?
I understood some of that.
Yeah, there you go. See, look at us. We're basketball
Oh,
masters.
man, we should just go ahead and move out of esports. We'll go to real sports.
Hey, man, got to diversify.
We'll
New
go-
games every day.
We'll go cast something legitimate like cricket.
That's a different broadcast. Stitch was one of the big names to complement Huxel, who everyone learned about in Season 1 of Apex. This duo, was one of the big cornerstones next to Kaiser of the ascent of Runaway, and is without Kaiser, at least for the first set. It seems like OGN was not ready, not available. That's not North America, guys, if you're wondering. Not available is Mirage's picture.
Yeah. Well, we don't have the picture, and we don't have any stats for him. Like you said, a very eclectic champion pool coming in here for the side of Runaway. So now moving into the tank role, not sure what really we can expect from him. But since Bumper is that Roadhog, that diva player, he's going to have to start maining the likes of the Winston and the Reinhardt.
Just because we have expectations of other people doesn't mean that we're going to see a multi-role swap, though. I feel like there are some flexibilities. Look at Cox, for example, who is known, don't you laugh, who is known for his flexing onto Roadhog. Who's to say he can't try and pinch it? Because, again, there is no recognized Reinhardt or Winston player on the lineup, so a lot of questions to be answered. IDK comes in as a new Lucio player. He gave an interview, and when OGN was talking to him, he's like, I'm the better Toby, which that's a pretty big thing to say as a guy starting off his competitive career as a Lucio player.
That's very bold. A very bold claim to make, but wants to come into this with confidence and just hope that he doesn't eat his words is likely the scenario there. But now we'll move over and see what our first battleground is going to be for our second match of the night. And Ilios in game 1, we're going to have it again here.
Scripted.
All right. I said we're going to go back
It was
to...
Ilios in the rehearsal as well, Achilles. I'm watching you, OGN.
There's nothing but Ilios. I told you, we're going to go back to standard Apex map pools. This is going to be Ilios
Ilios every day.
Personally, I was hoping for some
Cox
Oasis.
heard about us, laughed.
Yeah. You read his own name.
He did.
Chuckled. He's just like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's me. That's me.
That's what I named myself.
He writes it on the top of every piece of paper. Snickers.
Oh,
And
dear.
Mirage. Big ask for him. Big boots he's filling. Kaiser was such a superstar on this lineup towards the business end of the season. We even don't know what role he's filled, even though he's replacing Kaiser. We could still be surprised by the formation of Runaway. We're gonna have to wait for the timer to tick down to get an idea of where they're at.
Yeah, maybe we see a lot of triple DPS coming through from them. Not sure. So a lot of questions to be had for both of these teams. Runaway, though, defending Cran finalists coming through. Second place for them. They want to start things off with another win, a Freak of Freaks. See how they bounce back with these newly added supports. Let's get on to our first map here of Ilios.
I get it.
All right, starting things off with Ruin yet again. Definitely a bit more paltry from the side of the Freak of Freaks.
That was a lion and a mouse
End of the
situation
year.
there.
Yes, it definitely was. Well, Afrika, after their run in Season 2, they got to regain that fandom. Runaway certainly built up theirs. Lots of people here in the audience.
There's some
rocking the
recency
Runaway
bias
jersey.
going on for sure, as the Runaway side is largely packed, and unfortunately for a Freak of Freaks Blue, as you say, rebuilding phase for the roster, sadly for them, rebuilding phase for the fandom as well. Orisa teased, but no Orisa so far, so let's again cast our eyes to the important questions. Mirage will be on Winston, so again, away from his kind of known hero pool, and look at that, Arhan's on Genji. Who would have thought?
A big surprise there. Recry on the Soldier as well. Pseudo dive coming through, and they have the Zenyatta to try and tie it in.
No sign of the famous Ana just yet. 97% for Ana in the previous season on Kongdo Uncia.
Starting off with a flank here, wrapping around the sides, looking for the tanky members of Runaway, trying to chip away at them and get that pulse bomb built up, but Freaka Freaks already having to kite very far back. They get a pick in on the runner, but they'll lose Recry at the same time. Exchange of blows coming in, and Arhan finishes off Mirage. Good openings here for Freaka. They start to push back in. Control meter will start ticking back down.
Runaway
halfway there from Runaway.
Yeah, Runaway dropped on the point, but it was as their whole team was being collapsed on, so they were just kind of occupying space on that point. So first capture will almost certainly, and yes, now clearly go the way of a Freaka Freaks Blue. You can definitely be trolled by the percentage meter going up, but that was just, of course, Runaway dropping on a little bit early.
Yep. Bumper swapping over to the Winston now. Not a whole lot to work with here for Runaway thus far. Just have that pulse bomb about to come through from Stitch. It's a massive one, and it's going to make a big difference in retaking this point. For now, Freaka Freaks Blue can go ahead, posture pretty far forward. Here the pull comes out. Stitch not going to find anything, but they do get mono in the end as Hawksall dashes in. Finding a kill in on the Mirage. That's going to be an exchange.
Triple DPS pretty quickly for Runaway as, yep, first Dragon Blade is from Arhan.
Yeah, gets the kill, 4 HP remaining.
All right, better.
Not going to see much more from that, yeah, but staying alive. Magically doesn't go down the sound barrier right at the last second, keeps him alive as the poop comes through from Runner, and he's actually going to get taken down. Cox falling very swiftly afterward, and Runaway effectively getting team wiped. The Freaka Freaks will maintain control over this point as 50% is coming through.
One of our big queries for Runaway was in the post-Lucio change era. Remember, this is the first time Runner has played the changed Lucio in competitive play. Will they still be able to kind of get through their emotional core, their shot caller, on a much more micro-intensive hero that is the new Lucio? And so far that seems like the answer is no, and they're getting spawn camped pretty heavily here.
Yeah, Recry having that attack visor. Sound barrier is there to eat through most of the damage, but Cox goes down first and foremost. Hawksall out drawing that Dragon Blade. Doesn't really come up with much. Donghyun comes up big with the pulse bomb, gets rid of Mirage, gets rid of Runner, and they're just going to get stomped out yet again as 80% is on the meter for Freaka Freaks, so we're looking to just hold this all the way to 100%.
Yeah, this is looking really, really one-way traffic for a Freaka Freaks, but we've already seen Runaway be pretty dogged and sticking on triple DPS and Bumper as the sole tank on the Winston, which not necessarily unconscionable on this map, but the first few approaches have not worked. Primal Rage pops.
But yeah, Primal Rage is there to eat the damage as he chases in on the Mirage.
And it's just
makes
taken.
it back, and
They don't even have Stitch jump on the point. There was really no coordination there for the contestant. You can hear the silence around the crowd and the surprise of everyone. The music track wasn't even ready. There was no contest on the point, and Freaka Freaks Blue. Think about the fastest capture you could ever hope for on a control point.
Yeah, insanely quick there on Ruin. But best of 3 for Ilios. Plenty of opportunities here for Runaway to try to run it back in. See where we end up. It was Lighthouse last time around. Haven't seen well today.
Will we just see more and more triple DPS? Are they forced into it because of Mirage's hero pool? Again, when asked, gave Pharah, Soldier, and Ana as his hero pool. We'll wait for the time over. Pharmacy was what they were teasing.
I think I look at a very shady individual in the audience.
Pharmacy is what they're running. Bumper will be on the Diva, and Hawksall, interesting, is the one that's forced to flex onto the Winston.
Yeah, so changing things up in a major way here. Bumper already losing that mech, a very bad start for the side of Runaway. Lucid does go down, however, as Stitch takes him out, but Hawksall loses out in the Winston battle. Mono coming up with a kill, so already 2 on the side of the Freaka Freaks, and they're finding more as they get rid of Stitch. Recry landing those Helix rockets. Now they can just dash back in. Runner sitting on the point at the moment, but they can take him out in the end. And this should be another cap coming through for Freaka Freaks. Do they just have another 100%?
Feels like the nameplates are off, Gilios. It's one of those games where if someone told you it was the defending champions, or say the defending runners-up, or the second place in Season 2, and a Freaka Freaks Blue who struggled really immensely, you know, only just kind of through mathematics got through to the quarterfinal stage in their group, with Cloud9 also being in there. They look a class above Runaway so far that we've seen open up this map.
Stitch dashing through. Finds Donghyun trying to win that battle. Turning in, looking for the pulse bomb. Does pop it up. Hasn't been able to throw it down yet. Primal Rage. Winston wouldn't come with the kill. He dashes just a second too early. Tosses the bomb into the corner instead of onto the enemy soldier as he desired. Cox has come in, has that res, popping them back up.
Does make it 5v6 at least temporarily.
Keeps him in the fight. You see the Recry goes down, but he does answer one in onto Stitch. Gonna be the sound barrier coming in, and Mirage firing away the Barrage, but just doesn't have anything yet. Can't find a kill, and Arhan draws up the Dragon Blade. Find any kills outside of popping the mech there from Bumper. Retreats back, picks up that health pack. So far, Afrika still in the fight. Huxel has the Primal Rage ready to go, trying to smack the members of Afrika off the point, trying to get this retake in as it's already 65% accrued. Looks like they will be able to get it here. It's delayed even further as Mono goes in, but he and Donghyun can't stay alive. They can take it out. This might just be the concede coming in here for Afrika. Yep, with the death of Arhan, there's no one else sticking around. They'll just wait for these respawns to come in, but nearly 75% already on the first take.
If you think about it, 174% of control point accrued before the first capture of our Season 2 runners-up. Now, that doesn't mean it'll be easy for them to get back onto the point when you have Farah defending the high ground and no Soldier ultimate available. Sure, there are some tools to snipe them out of the sky, but they're not necessarily reliable from Afrika Freaks Blue. They need to find a way to get into the coverage of the lighthouse and not be sniped out by the Farah.
Runaway does have this res available for themselves yet again, and really nice pick off here. Stitch does take out Lucid. Good start. Both supports of Afrika are dead, so Runaway will hold firm for now.
A lot of tools. Remember, they do have the pharmacy, both ultimates up, the res up as well. Afrika are not investing in any further tools to perhaps deal with the flying duo, the pharmacy. Soldier ultimate, one of the most straightforward ways, but still far away. And if Zenyatta opens up for Discord Orb, probably going to be just killed on sight.
IDK goes low, but Stitch overextends and gets taken out. He turns around and boops him to death. Arhan drawing up the Dragon Blade, takes out Runner, however, trying to answer in the barrage. You can see comes down from Mirage, gets rid of Mono. Arhan just sticking on the point, trying to get that retake coming in.
Get 3 on the back end. It's actually a pretty close fight.
Yep, and Cox getting jumped on, will get taken out. Already used the res. And it looks like Afrika, they're trying to get this, but halfway there, and there's no one on the point to contest this one, so they're not going to be able to get the retake.
Yeah, the res was really big on the side of Runaway. Cox was not shut down and thus was able to get the res and make it into favorable trade as Mirage misses the door.
Yeah.
Feels bad.
Becoming increasingly difficult with Barrage and Barrage having to come out.
The Mirage Barrage.
Yep, the Mirage Barrage. Stitch, though, dashing in, finds Lucid yet again. Another Pulse Bomb ready to go, looking for a target. Just hunt somebody down. Tac Visor comes out from Recon. Try, but just going to get blocked out with a right click there from Bumper.
They don't want to invest any more to pick up these kills. They can pick up the first 3, but Stitch just get an answering one on Donghyun.
Well, we're into overtime now here in favor of Runaway. So Afrika try to keep this contest rolling. They will get those picks. They get rid of the mech. Bumper goes down, so they will go ahead and get this retake. 99% accrued for Runaway.
It was actually a really
80%
economical take as well. They didn't have to use 3 of their ults they were sitting on during the duration, and Arhan almost has Dragon Blade. Runaway don't have any tools. It's going to have to be a hit and hope with a sound barrier.
Just 10% left to go here. Runaway. See what they can do. Donghyun throws out that pulse bomb. Not going to find anything. Actually gets eaten, I believe, by the Diva as they push back in. The sound barrier thrown out, but already burned away. And Arhan with the Dragon Blade coming up with multiple kills. They get rid of Runner. And that might just be it here. The self-destruct going to be contained. Not going to find anything as the clock ticks down. And Afrika Freaks Blue will just come up with the win. 2-0 on Ilios.
Won't be flawless for Afrika Freaks Blue, but Runaway really seemed to lack cohesion with Kaiser out of the lineup. They were switching tank members left, right, and center, trying different identities, looking for something that resembled what they had in Season 2, but ultimately fell short.
And the question is, how long do you run with this? Do you just swap Kaiser in right off the bat, take your pause now, or do you give it another map?
I think giving it a single map is just not enough. A sample size, if anything, that probably hurts Mirage in the long haul. If he's the one to be substituted out, I guess perhaps it could be someone else, but realistically, I think if you're going to make such a big gamble, and we have no insight as to why, given that Kaiser, again, even looked great in the grand final, this decision has been made. I think you're in for at least a couple of maps, so maybe a 3rd map change, 4th map change you would understand, but doesn't look like we'll be seeing it, at least for map 2.
Seems like they're just going to go ahead and keep rolling with this.
The moment that Huxel...
See how things go on the hybrid map. Don't want to judge everything for this composition that they were running.
But the moment you see Huxel jump on Winston, you're like, okay.
Why?
I mean, Zarya you see from some of these Genji players, Roadhog certainly, but when you see it being Winston, you wonder.
Okay.
As Numbani is the selection, interestingly, coming through. You can see actually a pretty considerable offense-first advantage here. Attacking on Numbani at around 66%, so almost 2/3 compared to what we saw was basically a line ball with King's Row, one of our other hybrid maps.
Yeah. Going to be changing things up a little bit here.
I think Huxel will be back with the Genji on attack this time, though.
Almost certainly. We'll see what they want to balance out. I mean, Hawksall on Winston is just a wasted
Hey,
opportunity.
it's a stat now. Go on Winston's lap. It's going to be there forever, at least 0.1% Winston play lifetime.
And 0 wins on that one. So 100% loss for Hawksall's Winston so far.
Bible thumb.
Yeah, does feel pretty bad. I don't know. Something tells me we won't see them running that one again, running that setup as we move over onto Nimbani. But a Freak of Freaks Blue, pretty convincing there for Ilios. Bit rough around the edges on Lighthouse, but they come out with that victory. And a win on Nimbani would put them at match point. So Runaway, a lot of pressure on these guys. Grand finalists coming in. Just not finding ground to stand on yet. Let's see if they can find it as we move over to Nimbani.
I get it.
Welcome to Nimbani. It's a couple more voices thrown in there after that first map win for Afrika.
You start winning some matches, the voices get louder, Achilles. That's just how it goes. Korean esports fans like winners, and Runaway came so close to picking up Apex Season 2, 3-1 off, and then, of course, they forget the history from there to the Runaway fans. We're pretty used to Toby, the man that, again, IDK called out with his Lucio, flexing onto the Torbjorn, and this would actually be like for like in that regard.
Yeah, seems like they're going to go ahead and commit into this one. Donghyun was hovering the Genji for now.
Again.
Oh, dear. It's okay. He's still got 25 seconds to swap, Papa Smithy.
When you're thinking for strategy, this is, again, a surprise. Perhaps we'll be convinced by Mirage, especially, who I guess is the big benefactor of Hawksall changing his hero pool, but the subtitle of the grand final was the two best Genjis in the world fighting off, and now Hawksall's on Winston, who dives around a bit like Genji, but otherwise pretty damn different.
This is going to be a very odd and divided team composition here. I mean, the pseudo dive coming through from Hawksall on the Winston and Stitch still on the Tracer, but then the Pharmacy to come in on the sidelines. Mirage going to be needing to land pretty much all of these rockets, build up for that barrage very swiftly. This is the body shot in onto Arhan, who's actually piloting the Tracer for now. IDK goes low here on the Torbjorn. Already gets taken out, so that's going to be a very crucial stop here for Runaways. They try to push in, getting rid of that Torbjorn. Might just see it swapped off onto the Lucio immediately. Shots coming down. They'll get rid of the turret.
2-for-1 so far for Runaway.
Trying to get in onto the point. Haven't gotten that first tick yet. Donghyun's been buying a decent amount of time. Peel out of there as Mono leaps in. Let's see the ticks coming through already. This might just be a very swift cap on point A for the side of Runaway. And yeah, it looks like it's just going to be completed.
IDK actually stuck on the Torbjorn. Curiously, you only normally see that when you have something available.
Oh, they're starting to answer back, actually. Yeah, Lucid gets a kill in onto Mirage. They get rid of Stitch as well. Donghyun out of the mech, will get taken out, but the double pulse bomb coming through from Arhan finds Hawksall and Runner together, and they might have actually stopped this push. Double tick accrued here for Runaway, but they cannot get the cap.
Yeah, heroic defense with just basically Lucid throwing the nano boost onto the D.Va and just powering through the health bars of multiple heroes, and then a double bomb from Arhan, moving away from the Genji, and what is always a rare feat. Arhan and Hawksall, 0 Genjis, is an interesting math equation, but we'll see Runaway open up again. IDK finally jumped onto the Lucius, no more Torbjorn for Freak Freaks Blue.
Still pushing in here. Barrage, you can see that Barrage getting ready to come through, has it now, pushes it straight into the hallway, finds a kill on the Recry.
Instant res.
Res comes out there from Cox, keeping him alive. They can move back forward, self-destruct does find Runner, and Stitch goes down to Mono, who's just swinging away with a Primal Rage. Trying to get the smack back there on that self-destruct. Will be able to kill the baby D.Va. So decent amount of time bought here for Runaway. They get close to the cap, but yet again, eluding them. Still, as they just keep pushing back Runaway time and time again.
And remember, this started off as an instant 6v4 after the res, and yet Runner dies at 98% charge. Wasn't able to get away from the D.Va bomb, couldn't find the right positioning, and a Freak of Freaks Blue have been so surprising in being able to fight back after advantages, and Runaway, they're already changing up tact, but it's 1:30 left, and Hawksall only now is dropping onto the Genji, so it seems like Mirage is the Pharah player, and Hawksall trades place with Winston's when it's Genji time.
Stitch nearly getting taken out there. Now Hawksall dashing forward. Needs a long way to go before he can get that Dragon Blade up. He's the sound barrier coming down here for Runaway as he just tries to build up as much meter as he possibly can. Tac Visor with an Nano Boost coming through for Recry. Body blocked a lot by that D.Va right click. Hasn't gotten a kill through yet, but it's worked several members of Runaway quite low on their health bars. Mana and Cox, the first ones to fall. They get the pop here onto Bumper. They get Mirage off screen as Recry drops onto the low ground. Now looking for Runner, will be able to take him out with ease. And a Freak of Freaks looking for the full hold on point A. Just 40 seconds left.
Such a different change that a few weeks makes. Feels like just the start of April. We were there watching Runaway go blow for blow with Lunatic High. And hey, they could still reverse sweep if they go on to lose this map, as we saw Lunatic High do. But they look a bit anemic, Achilles. And that is never a word I thought I would use to describe a team of Hawksall.
Yep. Mono does get slept here, but stays alive. Building up towards that Primal Rage yet again. Stitch dashing in. Looking for Arhan. Being a sneaky little tracer, but he does get taken out in the end. Nice crucial pickup there for the side of Runaway as they try to go in for this one. 7 seconds as they will be entering into overtime. 2 kills coming through. They get rid of Hawksall, however.
Only 3 members of Freak of Freaks Blue. They're not grouped.
Several members on the side of Runaway, dangerously low. Cox being one of them. Tac Visor coming up for Recry, looking for the pigs. Gets on the Stitch, but the bubble is there to protect him, and he actually gets him on the low ground, taking him out. The cap right here on the horizon for Runaway. Just a couple more seconds on the point would give it over to them. Sound barrier coming through from Runner. Should buy enough time, and there we go. The capture happens, but 2.5 seconds is all that Runaway has to get through the streets phase.
First capture in overtime.
Did I say seconds? I meant minutes.
Fair enough.
2.5 seconds. That'd be
Hey, you could push in overtime. It's been done before. Luxury Watch Red Online did it. Come on.
That's true. They did that with like 180 ping.
Oh, that stuff was awesome. That was probably the moment where I was like, all right, I need to cast Overwatch at some point. That was thrilling stuff.
Then we said, LW Red's going to be amazing, and then they never
Hey,
qualified.
Pine made it to Apex finally.
That's
he just
true.
had to change team.
He just had to swap over to his sister team.
Well, Runaway also finally captured the point, and now we're seeing Hawksall in the back line. Still pretty low on the charge.
And a boost down on Mono as he tries to get rid of Cox. Does zap him to death. Rid of him, now looking for that mech pop onto Bumper. Gets it, so a decent hold here. Very far forward on streets for a Freak of Freaks Blue.
Have to use much. That's just the nano boost onto the Winston. Farming ults as well. Great ult economy coming through Freak of Freaks Blue. Once something we could say about this team back in Season 1. Bumper finds the warm embrace of death.
Definitely not the embrace he was looking for.
No.
Nice forward hold still coming through for Afrika. Right at the second corner. Stitch looking for the pulse bomb. Going forward. Would pop the mech, but wouldn't get much else.
Runaway really close to the ult barrage. They seem to need to get it through the streets phase. See some respect coming through from Freak of Freaks Blue, trying to move back. They do have a Recry and the potential for...
Oh, pulse bomb coming down. Does he find anything? No. Stick's not there, and he's not going to get recried. Sound barrier comes down, and Lucid already gets taken out, but the answer with 2 kills, 1 on the Runner. Hawksall, and now Cox going down. IDK just booping him to death.
And a big investment from them. D.Va Ultimate, Primal Rage, and also the Nano Blade coming through for nothing. Literally nothing for the side of Freak of Freaks, but they have nothing left. Gonna have to be the stuff of legends for them to claim this point. Much left for Freak of Freaks Blue, but Arhan has the pulse bomb. Will be Nano Boost soon. And hard to see Runaway pushing through the street space.
Yeah, it really is. 10 seconds left on the clock, but have to do it here in overtime. And Bumper almost loses the mech. Does get pushed back up. It gets quite a bit of charge here over to Cox. The sound barrier coming down, and Runaway fighting off the point. Finally dashing in. Mono does get slapped right before that nano boost expires. Recry finds Stitch, so a lot of the delay tactics here for Runaway are taken away. Winston going low. They almost get Mirage. They force the recall out from Arhan. Pop the mech. To clear off the point as best as they can. Runaway having a bit of a push. They have so far to go still here in overtime. Stick comes down, gets a double kill. Both the supports going down. Arhan lining it up beautifully, and now it's just Stitch against the world. A sound barrier to Freak of Freaks Blue. He'll get taken out. That's going to be it. 68 meters for Runaway. A Freak of Freaks looking to go match point.
And Arhan moves off the Genji, and his Tracer play was excellent in that round. The double that stopped there being a first-round push for Runaway, and then some really nice cleanup play also on the Streets phase. Great to see that for him. Again, he was the one who we thought would be the acid test for Afrika Freaks Blue. And he definitely performed in that particular round as Runaway, again, got the first point, but largely looked anemic, not convinced by Kaiser being the one to not be on the roster, but perhaps there are other factors we don't know about at work there. His level of play we last saw certainly would justify a starting spot on basically any roster in the world. And now Afrika Freaks Blue have a very comfortable goal. Will probably take a full hold from Runaway to stop them being able to push halfway through the Streets phase.
Such a big task now for Runaway. You can see right now playing around with that Torbjorn. Might see this out from them. Didn't pay off really for IDK, but they still had such a strong hold despite losing that Torbjorn right off the bat.
We've seen 3 heroes played by Runner. The first other than Lucio was the Torbjorn on Numbani, and then of course played a little bit of Zenyatta in the grand final as well. So has tried to diversify his pool. We'll be starting with the Torbjorn, like you mentioned.
Meanwhile, Symmetra just non-existent at this point.
Yeah, people feel like it's just too much of an investment going into Symmetra. Right when the shield generator came online, you know, when the live server patched.
She was great.
But you never really know when it comes to heroes like that in the meta. Is it just that people haven't sussed out how to play against a new variable like the shield generator, or is it her level of power? And I guess over the course of time, it seems to have been more the former than the latter. But Torbjorn has always been a favorite on Numbani. So we're looking at Afrika Freaks Blue, and they're kind of going for a mixed identity as well. Some dive, but also Recry. So basically, if all the eyes are on the dive, Recry will be free hitting from high ground as well.
They're opting in Lucid here onto the Zenyatta rather than the Ana. So won't have that one available to them. So they start pushing forward.
No threat onto Stitch just yet as the first dive comes in.
Arhan looking to flank around the backside, it would seem, and Stitch, yeah. He's kite back into the hallway, keeping himself alive as Arhan starts pushing forward.
They've already given away 2 ticks.
Yeah, they're so close to capping this one already. Afrika Freaks, Stitch getting knocked off the high ground. You can see just everybody from Afrika piling in. They get rid of Runner, pop the mech, they pop the turret. This is looking like a very swift cap coming in. There's nothing Runaway can really do. Last second effort here by Mirage, but not really the person you want trying to delay. 5.5 minutes just to go 66 meters, I believe.
The identity of Runaway is one pick, but of course quickly answered by Recry, comes through from Bumper. But the identity of Runaway, the team everyone fell in love with, was the underdog story, was the fact that they played as a group. They knew that Runner was not the most mechanically gifted player, but they relied on him for the shot calling. I mean, the story was the stuff of legends, you know, the sort of stuff that sports movies have been made of in the past. But we're not seeing that here. Of course, they've changed out Kaiser for Mirage, so already the family's seen a bit of a change, but they're not necessarily playing together. The defense was very scattered, and now they're knocking on the door of match point.
Yes, they are. Just less than 10 meters here. Arhan tossing out that pulse bomb, not going to find it. Gets eaten up here by the Diva, by Bumper, but they're still holding firm. 2 picks coming through Transcendence, keeping them alive, and Cox falls down as well. Recry desperately trying to dash around, makes it into the bubble, keeps himself alive, and you can see, yeah, Primal Rage thrown out just to try to knock them away. And even with that self-destruct tossed out, they will not find it. And Afrika Freaks, they find themselves at match point already as they take out Runaway on Numbani.
Current group score of both Lunatic High and Runaway, our finalists from Season 2. 2 maps in is 0-2, 0-2, 0-4 for our finalists. Lunatic High were able to correct, but I feel like they showed more in those losses against Kongdu Panthera. We didn't see much from Runaway. And honestly, I want to see a change roster-wise because I am not convinced that Mirage is the ticket to victory for this roster. Feels like they are no longer the unlikely band of friends and teammates that got all the way to the final. While they sip, they all look a bit forlorn in the booths. They're going to need to be a new Runaway when we come back from the break. Otherwise, this could be a very short best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, do we see Kaiser is really the big question that we have. We'll see what happens. We're going to go to that break, and when we return, match point for Afrika Freaks. We're going to look at the play of the game first, however.
I mean, Arhan
we know exactly which,
on the Tracer.
This is going to be that double pulse bomb for sure.
So he builds it up, coming into the fight. Just snipes off Huxal at the exit, and then we were looking for the pulse bomb.
There's the stick, and yeah, they just run together, get taken out.
He has space for days, Achilles,
Yeah.
and it felt like all the DPSs were unaccounted for throughout the course of the series. For Afrika Freaks Blue,
Yeah, really good stuff here for Afrika. We'll see if they can close it out. Comes down to one final control map, perhaps, or assault, I should say. See what it's going to be, Volskaya, Temple, or Hanamura when we return. Runaway's choice with their backs up against the wall. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see if Kaiser makes his return to Apex, or if they're going to stick in with Mirage and be able to find some success. Lots of pressure now against Runaway.
they only get 3 best-of-5s. They cannot afford to go down 0-3.
They really can. We'll be back in just a few minutes, guys, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Season 3, Day 1. I'm Achilles with me, Papa Smithy. We're coming back in for match point here, as Runaway has been suffering quite a bit so far in this series, but you'll take a look on your screen, you'll see that name right there.
I
It's
spy
Kaiser.
with my little eye, Kaiser. But interestingly, they will be persisting with Mirage. They will not be going for a dual tank lineup, at least not dual tanks by trade.
Yeah.
And Bumper will be going out, and Kaiser will be coming in. So at least on paper, we're expecting it to be very much a solo tank route, but we've already seen Huxal flex onto the Winston. Who knows how many Winston players they have, as everyone was having a go to mixed a little success on the side of Runaway. But our first substitution of the season, you would imagine, is a necessary one. The Runaway we knew from Season 2 was not playing in Games 1 and 2, and if Kaiser is the route to a reverse sweep, then that would be ecstasy for the Runaway fans.
Yeah, last-ditch effort here by Runaway. Match point, do not want to get 3-0'd to start off their Apex season. Would definitely harken back to their Season 1 days.
But again, Lunatic High went 0-2 down, and Assault was the site of their return. That was Volskaya, and it will be Volskaya again from the side of Runaway. Hoping they can rewrite history here, 2-1 lifetime, or at least over the course of Season 2 on Volskaya, so has been largely a happy hunting ground for them.
Yeah, gonna try to run this one back. 2-1 to Lunatic High in the grand final. So we're able to get that hold there on point 2. See if they can do it again here today. All rides on this final map for them. Come up with a victory here, then they can look forward to maybe giving us a second reverse sweep, not just of the season, but of the day here in Papa Smithy.
And at least another data point on what this lineup from Runaway will look like. Will Mirage go back onto a tank? Will they go triple DPS and just have Kaiser do his Winston Reinhardt thing? A lot of questions about Runaway, whereas a Freak of Freaks Blue, so far so good for them. The changes seem to be working.
Yeah, it really has. Arhan flipping over to that Tracer, also looking good. Let's see if they can go ahead and close this out with a 3-0 if Runaway will initiate the potential reverse sweep. Let's get on to Volskaya.
I get it.
Well, a lot more fans there for Afrika.
Yeah, the Freak of Freaks Blue fans finding their voices. Can see them with some cheerfuls also, some signs in the audience. Blue fighting, of course, because there's also a Freak of Red, even though they're not in Apex this season, as Lucid finds a bit of fun in the ice pits of Volskaya.
They're all just,
It's an epidemic.
yeah. They're doing their best Leonardo DiCaprio First Nations from Titanic.
I wonder if Lucid will be playing this Sombra. He's pushing out at 30 seconds, so the answer seems to be yes. Was on largely Ana duty, so maybe doing his best Luna and I guess also Mirage impression and jumping onto the Flex Sombra from the support position. When we saw Sombra in our first series, it was from Rascal. That was a DPS player on Sombra. So this is at the cost of healing. It's only the hacked healing packs of the Sombra and also the healing station of Soldier to complement Lucio.
Interesting decision to see this alongside the Lucio. I thought maybe you would see this with Ana, who can heal from a distance, but
Soul DPS. Sorry, Soul Tank from the side of Runaway.
Oxall moving over to the trademark Genji. Mirage trying to open things up here with a Widowmaker, looking for an angle. Body is going to get blocked out there by the bubble.
So far, good defensive formation here for Blue, but when you see that, Widowmaker usually have to drop as shots start to rain, and Mirage low, he's dead.
Oh yeah, Recry lighting him up with those Helix rockets, takes him out. You can see a bit of frustration there on his face. He does go down. He's swapping off immediately over onto the Diva. Now Lucid poking in from behind, looking for the Ana. He can find Cox, takes him pretty low, but has to jump his way back to safety.
Predictably, got the EMP in about 38 seconds. That's our time, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, fastest ult build in the game, pretty much. Let's say flat out. Oxall going low, chased in by the Winston. Gets healed up, however, does not go down, but the hack, or rather the EMP, is dropped by Lucid. Chasing in, looking for a kill. Overextends a little bit, but Recry's there to pick up the pieces. Comes up with a double as Runner and Stitch both go down. And a Runaway still just being contained inside of this choke point.
And you just really see the power of Sombra because you get your ult so fast. You walk up, ult on the second or third push, and then it's basically like an Orisa ultimate in terms of theory. People talked about Orisa ultimate, use it to get the charge on your allies. The allies get so much space to free hit, the Recry is already close to the Soldier ult because of the EMP.
Yep, now Hawksall though, drawing up that Dragon Blade, finds IDK to start things off. Decent here for Runaway as they make their way onto the point. Self-destruct coming down, not gonna find anyone. He still comes up with the triple kill, so now our Freak of Freaks trying to limp their way back in, or do they just want to concede? Is going to be the question. It's already going to be 2 ticks guaranteed picked up by Runaway.
Mono's going to come back on with the Primal Rage. The answer is contest, but this means this ult will not be up if they lose here.
Well, it's a smack battle as both the Winstons just knocking each other away as best as they can. Going to commit the sound barrier in for this one as well. Mono still very healthy. Drops the bubble. They'll try to persist.
How much more do Freak of Freaks want to use? They use the Pulse Bomb, don't get value.
Hack Health Pack doing some work here as Lucid drops another EMP in, but you can see they're still falling to the wayside. Kaiser coming up with multiple kills on his return. The competitive play, 3 kills picked up, basically a team wipe here for the side of Runaway. They're going to try to snowball this as they charge forward onto the second point.
I mean, the only reason you do this is if you're going to swap, and Lucid does jump in, EMP, and swap over to his more trademark Ana. And now it's interestingly Arhan going from Tracer to Sombra himself on defense, and now they do have a DPS player on the Sombra. They realize they need the Ana and the sight lines that are provided on point B Volskaya. Huxel, it was the first Dragon Blade that got them the point. He has another one available. And from there it is triple DPS. No nano boost available for Huxel.
How he fares, Arhan gonna go ahead, jumps back. Himself alive, Dragon Blade drawn out by Hawksall, looking for the opening, dashing in. Not gonna find anything for the sleep dart. Comes through from Lucid, locks him down, and now he's all on his lonesome. Can they finish him off? It's gonna be the question. The sound barrier there keeps him alive, and now he's still chasing in for that Ana. Meanwhile, on the front side of the fight, Cox coming in on Soldier. As that tac visor firing away, gets a kill onto Donghyun as he leaves that mech. Can't get much more outside of that. Arhan pushing back in. Be ready to go. Self-destruct, not going to find anybody, but IDK goes down to Hawksall on the backside of the fight.
Arhan actually pops the ult, but gets no value from it. They're all dead other than Donghyun here. So waiting for Recry to get back onto the point.
Self-destruct does find Hawksall, but it's only 1 pick and 1 tick here for Runaway as they try to maintain control over this capture point. Be a lot of time in the bank if they're able to get it, but you can see that sound barrier coming down from IDK as they rejoin on the point. They take out Cox with the boot. And it looks like a Freak of Freaks will be retaking this as Runaway just keep getting picked off one after the other.
The IDK bought so much time solo, just dashing in with the ultimate. The respawn's much shorter because we're not into overtime just yet. So defense is created by a Freak of Freaks blue. They will have to switch from there though.
Oh, there we go. Decent delay on the Mirage. Not as brutal as we're used to seeing onto those baby divas here on Volskaya especially, but
pushing Volskaya point 2 was hard enough without a pesky Sombra having ult every time you try and push onto the point. Runaway not going to invest in much new tech. Runner surprisingly jumps onto another new hero. He's on the Mercy this time. So Pharmacy attempted an attack. They will be going for solo DPS like we speculated. So solo tank like we speculated. Still triple DPS with Mirage on the Pharah now.
I mean, we have had this on, specifically on this point. I'll have to hold that thought though as the pulse bomb comes through. Not going to find a target. But it's still such an odd spot to run the Pharmacy comp. Not nearly as much open air as you would like to be floating around. You see Runner already going very low, does keep himself alive, at least for the moment here. Arhan goes in, drops the EMP yet again. And they're just going to start picking him off. Kaiser and Runner both going down.
Runner the first to die. Maybe they feel like the res is what they need to take this point. Basically, go in, get res, and then pop ultimate, or vice versa. But for now, just going to be easily dispatched. The ult tech to take point B Volskaya used to be something like the Graviton Surge, swapping over to a Zarya for the second point, but Zarya's been very much a secondary pick today. In fact, only one single Graviton Surge in the course of a match, and now 2 maps is crazy by previous season's paces, especially with no big meta change happening in terms of
we haven't had
in
any
that
since
time.
the promotion tournament where Zarya was actually very prevalently played.
May just be a one-day meta. These things happen if scrims. The Zarya's not working. They're coming back in. Runner doesn't have his ultimate just yet.
Kaiser is already dead. Mirage still trying to pop away, trying to get this barrage up. Goes down to 12 HP. Has to drop back in. The heals do come through from Runner, but he dies to save Mirage's life, and even then it doesn't work out. He gets taken down in the end. Self-destruct tossed out by Donghyun. Won't find a kill, but Runaway just getting crippled over and over again.
At least they're not investing anything. There is still the chance of throwing 6 ultimates at second point of Volskaya and picking it up, but it's kind of that weird quandary where it feels like you kind of need the overtime bonuses, I guess, the attacking team gets in terms of the longer respawns of Freaks Blue to actually overwhelm Afrika. So the timing here is that you really want the time bank, but unless you get a Quadra wipe, it's going to be difficult as there is the nano boost onto the soldier.
Pulse bomb thrown down, doesn't have the stick, and it does not kill Lucid. Meanwhile, he gets rid of Kaiser, and the tag visor will get rid of Mirage, so Freak still holding
Res
strong.
comes through.
IDK respawn, sound barrier thrown down here by Runaway. EMP tossed out at the same time by Arhan. Still alive, but barely so. Will get taken out by Mirage as they try to posture forward and get this meter rolling yet again. The rockets come through, gets rid of the Lucio here again. Here for the side of Runaway as they just maintain control, finally working their way towards that second tick. They'll be able to get it, but can they find the finish? Play tactics going to be in full effect here from the side of Afrika.
Respawn side to come through as well. Runaway still down to 4, but 2 more members getting to the point. They're getting closer and closer though, as they start to get them. Maybe we'll actually be able to take the point. 30 seconds left.
Donghyun and Mano trying to buy as much time as they can. Lucid swapping over towards that Tracer. No makes to be seen, oddly enough. Thought this would be the biggest delay tactic that we would have coming out. Recry now swapping over, but Lucid going down here. It's all on IDK. Cannot get popped. Has to stay on the point.
They don't get many more rounds of respawns. In fact, they're never going to get any as the capture comes through. Just about 8 seconds before, finally we see Runner jump out of his seat. Finally we see some optimism from the side of Runaway. It's a late capture, but it's still a capture for the side of Runaway. And now they at least have a goal to defend when it comes to Freaks push.
Well, Mirage, gotta be feeling a bit relieved there. Wasn't the one that got swapped out with for Kaiser. Comes up pretty huge there on the Pharah. It's interesting to see it on the second point, but they make it work.
I mean, they even also make the change from Runner onto the Mercy work as well. Fought out the first few pushes, but then got a big res that parlayed them into enough momentum to close the map even before the respawn penalties come through in overtime. So we'll have at least a little bit of a time bank. Now we jump onto the side of Freaks Blue, and we saw one visit of the Widowmaker today, and we know that Recry loves to play it if he gets a chance.
See if he wants to swap over. For now, still just hovering on the soldier. But you never really know with these attacking teams what they're going to go for. For now, it seems like it's going to be the full commitment on the dive comp. Arhan piloting that Genji and Donghyun over onto the Tracer. Defense here from Runaway. Single tank, or well, double tank rather, as Mirage is going to be playing the Diva.
And more triple DPS is becoming the norm on attack. For now, it is triple DPS from a Freaks Blue.
And again, it's so surprising because I think we saw triple DPS maybe twice during the promotion tournament. It was very rare, and now it's just the dominant composition that we're seeing here in the first day of Apex.
It's worth noting that the teams finally had multiple weeks to watch other regions, to actually take into account what was happening elsewhere in the world, and they're clearly taking nods from other regions when it comes to triple DPS. Roger now in Korea screaming as well, so people are getting more and more information on the other comps, and you're correct. Feels like the meta is now embracing the world, and we're seeing a Western flavor with some of these comps.
Here we go, Afrika moving forward past the choke. Runaway going to be posturing back onto that high ground up on the right-hand side. For the most part, we'll see how quickly of an opening Afrika can get onto this first point. Already got a decent little bit accrued. As Arhan goes for it, the Genji battle coming out.
Tracer battle already won by a Freaks Blue.
And Donghyun coming out on top as Stitch does fall. Runner low as well. Has to kite back, but actually gets taken out off screen
6v4,
by the Tracer.
6v3.
Arhan just right-clicking away, just steadily chipping them down. Runaway, they're going to have to give this one away. Stitch is the only one alive that can try to contest. But it's just going to be a 3+ minute cap in favor of Afrika Freaks.
Second attack we've seen from them onto a point. Second first push cap from them as well. Massive time bank here. But again, we all know the reputation of Volskaya Point B, and they don't necessarily have snowball ultimates. If Arhan had the Dragon Blade somehow, be both curious, but very, very effective.
Oh, Donghyun tossing out that pulse bomb, not going to find the connection in on the Cox, so it doesn't take him out.
It's already dead again, though.
Yeah, Lucid, of all people, actually gets rid of him with that Zenyatta. Finding him, the Discord Orbs coming through as they almost take out Kaiser, but they'll settle for Runner instead. Now the Nano Boost being used in onto the Winston, trying to buy more time to keep him alive as long as humanly possible, but Rikai is firing off from the backsides of the fight. There's a big opening, it almost has attack visor as Arhan crawls out the Dragon Blade, dashes forward, finds one of the healers, helps get rid of Mirage as well. The team kill pretty much coming through in favor of Afrika as they get onto the point where they haven't accrued much yet.
Now it starts to go up. They finally get them all out, but the respawns are coming like you mentioned. Kaiser waiting for his moment, doesn't want to just go in split spawn.
They almost get the second tick, they can't find it. Cox, he jumps in on the Sombra, but it gets taken out immediately. IDK just swooping him to death. Mirage falling as well, and Runaway running out of their delay tactics. Another team wipe about to happen here in favor of Afrika Freaks Blues. They throw down the sound barrier. Runner goes down. Cox coming in on the Reaper, but it doesn't even matter. They complete the cap. And that is 6 minutes and 46 seconds on the clock to the 8.1 of Runaway.
One of the fastest possible caps you could see on point B. The delay tactics you could see. Kaiser was waiting for more. Cox dived in on the Sombra and was already dead. The disconnect when it came to the stall was real from the side of Runaway. And now you are working against just the most insane time bank. It's going to have to be a first push claim and then some, the sort of stuff of legends for Runaway. Otherwise, a 3-0 defeat that Lunatic High managed to avoid seems on the menu in Game 3.
It really does. 1 minute, all that they have to work with. 6:46 from the side of the Afrika Freaks Blue. Absolute, just crushing performance so far.
It's been the defense that's been the real story for Runaway. You know, some of their offense, okay, trademark Runaway. They finally got the point when they were attacking in the first round of Volskaya, but their defense has looked really haphazard. The team has been all over the place, lost the Tracer duel, and then Runner is caught. One by one, they go. No streaming, no real ability to play for each other, and I mean, it happened on Numbani as well.
I mean, a lot of times when you actually complete the second cap, you know, on these assault maps, you feel really good when there's actually time in the bank and it wasn't done in overtime. But it feels so absolutely terrible when you have 8 seconds and then your opponent has almost 7 minutes.
You get the bonus 52 seconds and Afrika Freaks Blues like, okay, whatever.
Just shrug that off.
But this needs to be an impressive attack here from Runaway, who once again will be going triple DPS.
They're already getting spotted out there. Stitch having to wrap back around to pick up the health pack. Pushes very far forward with the Genji.
Need a quick pick here. Someone like Stitch, who was one of their big carries on their run to the final, needs to come up with something big on the Tracer.
For now, they're all being contained inside this left flank building here. Runner starting to push out. Arhan goes low, and yeah, they already finished off Hoxall. Eyes are going low, they get him as well. Recry just maintaining control of this high ground position, ripping through the members of Runaway as they push in. It's just 10 seconds left. Kaiser respawning, Cox going low, they get him in the end. And that honestly might be the final nail in the coffin.
There's no one even contesting the point. Finally, Stitch gets there. He pulls back and
pushes back in, though, goes really low, has to recall off, and now it's into overtime. Hoxall dashes in, but the Winston is there to answer. They take him out. And this is just looking so very grim for Runaway. 4 members at 5 now. It's just Cox. The clock is going to tick down. And, oh dear.
Didn't find a single pick. No one died on the side of Afrika Freaks Blue. No respawns for them. Looked pretty straightforward, and if it's another attacking phase like the first two, we could be in for an early night, and that's with a 2.5-hour epic behind our wings.
Well, I mean, remember the system that we have enacted here, Papa Smithy.
That's true.
Any percent capture point.
Well,
they effectively need to tag it.
Yes. And that means that, you know, until we get the new patch, basically they can just have to park themselves on the point, and even a boop is enough to get a capture. So, yeah, we're working with a percentage bar of 0%. That's not many percent.
Feels bad. If you're Runaway especially.
The most bad. Runaway found themselves so many new fans. People, maybe even as recently as last week, were picking up, you know, finally getting their international shipments of the Grandma pink Runaway jerseys, which is so cool, you know, honestly, and it was great to see them. We thought, okay, maybe they'll be picked up by a big org. Maybe this will be a limited edition item. certainly may prove to be one, but the Runaway fandom is looking like it's going to have to be the hard road to begin things, at least for Apex Season 3. You don't get to make many missteps when you only play 3 matches in the group stages, and for this not to be a misstep from Runaway would have to be, again, we're running out of superlatives. It's literally almost impossible for Runaway to come back. I'd love to be proved wrong.
It would be one hell of a performance by them. See the Jet coming out here from Lucid at the Hanzo, just trying to see if they're playing far forward, doing anything cheesy, but Runaway, they know better.
They get Ana in the room as a healer, but everyone else stuck on the point. Triple tank has to be the way. First time there's been more than one tank, it feels like, for almost the entirety of the 3 games we've seen from Runaway.
Yeah. And Donghyun does go down. Nice opening pick here for the side of Runaway. Still a long ways to go. 6 minutes and 15 seconds that they have to basically keep themselves glued to the point.
I mean, you could eco push to 6 ultimates, and then you don't even need to kill them all. You just need to get them all off the points. And a lot of ultimates in Overwatch.
Primal Rage.
Zoning ultimates, you're right. Primal Rage, even the Soldier ult, McCree ult, all of them can be used for zoning. So really not too much pressure, although the dive has already started from
jumping
Afrika.
in. Arhan goes low, has that big heal tonight coming out, but he does stay alive, gets himself out to the backside. And Stitch will fall. Good open here for Afrika Freaks, but several members are very low. Continuing the push is going to be a little bit risky here. The kite's coming out. That's the boop. There you have it. IDK coming up big. Knocks them all right off the point with a right click. And Afrika Freaks Blue close out this 3-0 victory over Runaway.
And to have a 3-0 game score is going to be so big for them. We've already seen how close Group A and Group B are on paper. They've blown the group wide open by 3-0ing Runaway. And maybe now you get some context as to why we saw such a